Good morning to all. Thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this program, and for each one of you for inviting us here, introducing us, each aspect of it. As said, we are no stranger to this institution. We've been part of this institution for probably about 20 years now in different capacities, and it's always a pleasure to keep coming back to our institution. And to speak in this to this wonderful set of faculty, professors, and this very nice hall too. The topic given to us today is about Indian knowledge system. While it is a very important subject, and in going forward in the new education policy, which we are all part of, 5%, as you know, minimum 5% has to be dedicated to Indian knowledge system, that is in short IKS. So what is this is what we should all know about. We are not going to deal with a subject, but more look at it from an umbrella perspective, a macro perspective of seeing what it is and how each of us can incorporate it in our own ways in our departments in the years to come. So that is, we are going to look at it as a macro picture of understanding. And as my wife, Dr. Hema, she termed it, to understand IKS, we need to understand what Bharat is first of all, isn't it? Because it is not just a subject that is taught. Because if you take a subject like say physics, chemistry or biology or mathematics, statistics, it is common across the world. Whether you teach it in Europe or you teach it in Africa, it's almost similar wherever. Whereas a subject like IKS is very unique to the education system of India. And if so, what do we are all Bharati in nature, in spirit, and even as per our constitution, very clearly. So what is it we'll have to see? And if when we are Bharati, which we are, and proudly so, we've also got to think like a Bharati. That's important. So it is not a subject limited to a syllabus or a book, which it certainly is also. It's a lot more innate to us, in us. If so, what is it and how do we think from that perspective and use it to inculcate this timeless wide range of wisdom to our students in the given time frames that we have in our academic process. That's what we'll be seeing over the next 90 minutes. I'd like to, after this brief introduction, I'd like to leave substantially the floor to my wife, Dr. Hema, because she has specifically for this session prepared some nice points so that knowing the stature of the faculty here and the elevated level of discussion that we should be having, we have prepared specifically for this. I leave the floor to her. I'll be interjecting wherever needed, or more importantly, where not needed. Rest is between you and her.
So thank you everybody for giving us such a warm welcome. Feels nice to be back home, and like he said, I think he couldn't have said better about the aspect of Indian knowledge system and its uniqueness, and therefore how to orient ourselves towards this subject is what we are going to be seeing today. Both the challenges and therefore the how. Okay, and before, we don't want to make it like a monologue where we just keep bombarding you with so many facts and preachy things to say. So we're going to have some fun and we're going to start with that. Okay, I hope all of you have your mobiles here, right? You haven't been asked to leave your mobiles behind outside the room, right? And you all can access the web. True? Okay. So can you, I'm going to type this web address here, www.bharatgyan, BHARATHGYAN, Bharat Gyan. Please, I would urge everybody, because we are going to be doing a poll now, and it's in your own interest to be doing this. We are not going to be just watching something. You are going to be doing something. You're going to be participating. So I urge everybody to take out your mobile and just type this address, Bharat Gyan.
We will not be capturing your mobile number. We will
Yes.
not be capturing email ID. So there's nothing. So there's no capture of anything of what you're doing. It's just voluntary, independent, and fun. So don't worry, we are not, there's no
Yes.
process to capture your phone number. It will not get
Your
captured.
email ID is also not going to be captured. It
Nothing.
may show you as you get into the screen, but it's not being captured. It will tell you not shared. So bharatgyan.com/understanding IKS POLL, understanding IKS poll, bharatgyan.com/understanding IKS poll. Hit enter. You just say group poll at the first question, that's all, and start answering one by one. Let us see how much you are thinking like an Indian. How much of Indian
Thinking like a Bharati.
Bharati thought. So it's a simple. Which will you prefer? Bringing water from its source to your home, or setting up your home near the water source?
That is the point. Think as in, what would we do? What would
What
others
have
do?
our ancestors done? How have they lived? What did they do? So can we move to the second one? Think like a Bharati again. Which would you consider a privilege? To give or receive?
Good. All of you good.
Okay, so you have answered this. Can we move to the next? What would you choose between these two? To be indebted or to be entitled? Okay.
Indebted where being in debt where. Indebted is not being in debt. It's two different things.
Shall we move? What would you choose? Duty or right? Okay. So please answer, choose the right answer on your questionnaire. At the end you will get the right answers marked. You will be able to see what you have answered. And it's not being stored either, don't worry. What would you do? Indian, as a Bharati, do you spend or do you save? Okay. Okay, good. How do you think our ancestors governed themselves? Earning, keeping, spending, deciding locally, or collecting all the revenues and then disbursing from a central, let's say, the kingdom?
The traditional perspective need not be the current perspective.
So what was the mindset that was behind the Indian model of governance? Okay, we move on to the next. What is a good model for self-sufficiency? Think like an Indian, act like an, how our ancestors had acted.
Of the whole civilization across millennia.
Did the Grama support Nagara? Is that a better model where the villages support the cities, or should the cities support villages? Which is a better model for self-sufficiency? Next. Shall we move? Are you all on the same page? Okay. So for bringing in a gender balance, good healthy gender balance in society, what should we strive for? Removing the inequality or reinforcing complementary? So how would the Indians have thought, have worked all these many millennia? So what has been the Indian psyche? To avoid poverty, what should you do? Should you create abundance or should you manage the scarcity? So think what you should be doing. Should you create abundance or manage scarcity?
It's your personal.
Now if you had to choose a society, which kind of a society will you choose to live in? And what kind of a society did our ancestors create? A society where people support each other, or a society where administration or a king or some central authority supports the people, where the king looks after the people or people look after each other.
King meaning the
Administration, governing body. So which kind of a society
did we create for ourselves across the land?
Now again, how do things evolve? From gross to subtle. So you keep looking at things big, macro, micro, micro, micro. It goes into atoms and molecules and gets into nuclear, subatomic levels. Or from subtle, from nothing, everything goes and becomes big. So which idea do you think works? Which is the idea that our ancients subscribed to?
I think she's giving you a clue already in the word.
So as an Indian, will you choose black or white? White. Okay. So please look at your
This
paper.
is a googly question. This is purely a googly.
So will you choose black or will you choose white? White also has black on it, black also has white on it. Okay. So I think you've reached the last question. Do you want to submit? So you all got your points total? How many of you all got full? 12 on 12? Anybody? 11? 11? 10? 10? 9? Good. So 9 is the top. Okay. 12, who? Somebody, you got 12? Oh, wonderful. Excellent. So, okay. So, we pause there and let's actually look at some of the questions now. What is the answer as an Indian? I'm not saying there's a right answer, wrong answer. But if you analyze our ancestors, so when you say Indian knowledge system, it is the collective knowledge of our Indians, our ancestors who have lived for so long. It is their collective knowledge which manifests in the way they have lived. Because when you live, whatever the way you've lived is synonymous, it goes hand in hand with the knowledge that you live with. And also it is collective in terms of across the times.
See, the key point to be noted here is when you said ancestors living, we should recognize that they all lived very sustainably, successfully and prosperous for millennia, not for 10, 20, 30 years like many other countries and civilizations have been doing, or even 100, 200 years as some civilizations have done. We have lived successfully, sustainably, prosperously, healthy for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. That means we had a basic ethos system of living to prosperity, sustainability, successfulness, happiness, all that. So these 12 questions just reflect some components of it. That's what it is. So you should know what it is. So can we replicate that in our lives for our personal well-being, for our prosperity, success, and thereon share it with our students? That's all the perspective is.
So let's start with the first question.
So, see, if you look at all civilizations of the world, you know what they'll say, Nile or Mesopotamia, everywhere they'll say, you go live near a river. So the idea is to go and stay where you, whereas the Indian thought is, wherever we live, we'll bring our waters there. So we make that area Punya Tirtham. So we have a habitation there, we get waters there. That's the beauty of what we have been doing. See the contrast. Of course, we do also live by rivers, but we also make the place we are, bring water there.
Which is why you will see every village has got a kolam, kuttai, one lake, kere, different forms of water bodies everywhere. In every village.
Korambu, all that, everywhere you have
there may be no river nearby. So, what do you understand by the English word irrigate? What is irrigate? We all use irrigation, right? What is irrigate? It means to bring water to your land. Irrigate means not just rely on rains, but to divert and bring water to your land. That is irrigation. And civilizations which do irrigation, they are that much advanced.
Better off because they have the skill to bring it to better. That's all. Next point, between giving and receiving.
So it also, therefore, when you say your choice is bringing water, that means we had our Indian knowledge system includes knowledge of water, rain patterns, topography, hydrology, how to build these water systems, and why, when, which kind to build. So that is the Indian knowledge system.
Then between obviously giving and receiving, we have the clear term dhanam, da, to give dhanam. And that is the maximum pressure because you do well, you are prosperous, so you want to share, you want to give. Obviously that's there. Then,
and here is where you also have a very interesting anecdote concerning Swami Vivekananda.
This has happened about 100 plus years ago when Swami Vivekananda was in, after the Chicago address, one of the Rockefeller sons came to meet him and gave $1 million donation then. Mr. Rockefeller was waiting for Swami Vivekananda to say a word of thanks. But Swami Vivekananda was waiting for Mr. Rockefeller to say a word of thanks. He said, in Bharata civilization, when you give a donation, you also say thanks for giving me an opportunity to give a donation. So the receiver doesn't say the thanks, the giver says, thank you for giving me an opportunity to do a good deed and to receive it. So that is where we give the importance very clearly to the idea of giving and between indebted.
That leads to this point.
So as example we gave, it's there in various, all over our land.
So between being, so when you say indebted, meaning you are automatically feeling you have to give, you are thankful, you have a sense of gratitude, you work in the sphere of being indebted, being in gratitude. That is why also giving comes in place because you think you are returning with thanks. You're not accepting, you're first returning with thanks.
We have an Indian word for it, rina. There's no equivalent word in any other language other than rina. So probably you can use the word RNN for it because of lack of any other spelling for it. Rina, wherein we have many rin. We have Pitru rin, Rishi rin, Ved rin. So the students are indebted to the faculty, the professors, for having given them the knowledge, skills for life. Yes, you may pay a school fee, a college fee to study, all that's part of the process. But they're always indebted to their teachers for having taught them right through life, isn't it? Are you all not indebted to your faculty, your teachers of your life all through? Be it professional, non-professional, social, everything, every aspect of. So that Rina concept is very clearly in Bharat. Obviously, it's palpable to all of you.
Claiming your right. So you don't think you're entitled, you think you're indebted. And when you are indebted, paying off that debt is your duty. And therefore, the society had created various kinds of debt, like he said, rin. Rin to your teacher, rin to your ancestors, rin to nature, rin to the earth, rin to society around you. Everybody is helping you. You are never living alone, so everybody is helping you. So you have to understand that you are indebted to everybody. And therefore, you also have a duty to all of them to repay whatever they are doing for you. So this is the mode of Indian thought.
Who are you repaying it to? Your next generation that you're yet to see. Because they have got to come and live in it, isn't it? So look at the continuity, that's called sustainable. Today you think it's a modern buzzword. No, we had the concept and practiced it so that you ensured that what you receive of this earth, you give it in a better place, a better way for the next generation to come, whom you have not yet seen, who are not yet born. But you endeavor to give them a better place to live in. That is the Rina. And that's where the duty comes. Do you know, see, West is all about rights. This is my right. Whereas the Bharata thought is all about duty. I carry out my duty, dharmam. You have. Do you know when in 1960s, one famous quotation by a speech by somebody shifted the thought momentarily for a few months to the idea of duty from rights? I give you the clue. In 1960s, somebody made a famous speech about importance of duty and not just rights, because it's the Western thought is all about rights. One person made a speech in 1960s. Third time I'm saying the clue. John F. Kennedy, when he became president, he said, ask not what your country has done for you. Ask what you can do for your country. He was talking about what you can do. So he was talking about duty. Again, a thought taken from the Bharata civilization. It was a speech of which is remembered across 50, 60, 70 years. He turned the thought process of saying, let's see what we can do back, instead of asking what can be done to us. So no rights. So that's a duty concept, which is what in Bhagavad Gita you have, all about duty, isn't it? So it's a 5,000-year-old concept that we have had.
So what would you rather do, spend or save?
Because the Western civilization all about spending. Whatever you have, spend it off today. Then you have a plastic card, swipe that also, and be done with it, isn't it? Whereas we have the concept of saving. Okay.
Where do you think we got this innate nature of saving? Wherever we go, we save. Whichever part of the world, even if you are earning a lot, you will still save. Indians,
even if they go to US or New Zealand or Australia or Germany, what is the first thing they do? They plan their savings. Isn't it? It's naturally innate in you. Can anybody think of a nice old Tamil song which speaks about the idea of saving? I did say this in this college a couple of years back. Nice black and white era Tamil song. That's about spending. Saving. அம்மா கிட்ட கொடுத்து வை சின்ன கண்ணு 600 ஆக்குவாங்க செல்ல கண்ணு. Look at the idea. So the concept of you give it to the mother, she will save it. She will even multiply it multiple times. That is the idea, isn't it? So the very clearly thought process of this land is all about saving. No other civilization has got the idea of saving. Only two other lands has got an idea of saving. One is the Dutch, other is Scottish. They have a word called thrift for it, T-H-R-I-F-T. Since the English professor I'm saying, they have an idea called thrift, to be thrift. So two lands. Otherwise, everybody is all about spending. Whereas Bharata, whole of Bharata, which we will see later in some of our courses. Out of this again comes, our thought is, do you know what? Collect the money here.
So how many of you chose which one? How many chose earn, keep? How many chose collect and disburse?
So our idea is very decentralized model of administration what Bharat has been, whereas we collected locally, spent locally, only sent a small portion upstairs to the central system. The British changed it around to collect and take everything to the top. So it was a topsy-turvy system. So it is basically decentralization with centralization. The land of Bharat has always been a decentralized system. Of course, we have had a colonial rule for 200 years. So we took up a centralized system, which we will slowly overcome over the next 50, 70 years. It's a process.
And the sign of this earn and spend locally, do you know the remnant of that where we have today? Locally? Earning, spending, deciding. Panchayats. So these panchayats are the form of governance that have been coming from millennia.
Local governance.
Local governance. And what is the remnant we have of this colonial model of collect and disburse from the center? Collector.
The district administrator is called collector because his primary role is to collect and send it to the top.
The reason we are highlighting all this is that so today when we talk about IKS, we are studying subjects of IKS. We are studying Chanakya's Arthashastra, we are studying so many Dharma Shastras, fundamentally we are studying these kind of books on different subjects, either chemistry or water or something. But you should fundamentally understand that when they are talking about Arthashastra, when they are talking about an administrative model, the rules, everything is based on the understanding that there are panchayats which are there locally, they are operating locally, collecting, they are deciding locally. They will not mention it because it's taken for granted. But if without this understanding, you will slip and fall when you try to read that. So again, model for self-sufficiency. Grama supporting Nagara or Nagara supporting Grama. Which do you think will yield self-sufficiency?
Why? Why? So, Grama were the production centers of the land, and the Nagara were the distribution centers of the land. So, the production hubs we had. What happened was, when the colonial powers came in, they destroyed the distribution centers and kept only the, they destroyed the production centers and kept the distribution centers. So, the economic shift happened. So, we'll have to realize that this is a production base. That's why you have now come up with the policies like Made in India, Make in India, all that. So, we have to get back. So, production centers create wealth for you. The production centers are generally in the Grama. Food is obviously one of the biggest production centers. There are all other crafts, artifacts, everything. Crafts not meaning the Bombay that you keep in your display center. Every other occasion. So, that is the concept that you have. Whereas, unfortunately, the last 50, 70 years, in the villages that have been poor in this land, because you destroyed the backbone structure, which you'll have to get back. IKS is one of the ways we will have to educate and get back that.
So now again coming to gender balance. What do you think is the right way to usher in gender balance? Would you strive to remove the inequality or reinforce complementary?
Let us be clear, the both genders, there's nothing like equality. Both genders have their uniqueness to play. Each have their skills, capacities, uniqueness, that's important. And each have a role to play, so they complement each other. Hema, she normally does one exercise on this. She can quickly do it for 30 seconds.
So I would urge all of you, just take, it's a small exercise, take both your hands. Okay. Now these two hands, they are trying to meet each other. So they are coming towards one another. Now as they come, this finger sees this finger sees this finger. So they all come and meet. Okay. And now they are trying to get closer. What do you feel? You feel there is a pressure, right? And look at your hand. Now keep your hand like this and look at it. What do you see? You see a lot of gaps. You are not able to close these gaps, right?
Close it any further.
No way you can close this gap, right? Now take your hand.
So that is about equality.
So these two are equal, they are coming. This finger thinks I should meet only this, so he is meeting. He is not meeting this or anything. So they meet, the equals meet, they are equal. And they are finding that they are clashing. Now take your hands away. And they have no judgmental thing in their mind, they are just coming. I am this hand, it's coming. As they come, they find that there are places where they can get in. Now, let's see, you have got your hands together, right? Do you feel any pressure? Now hold your hand like this. What do you see? No gaps, but better than that, what do you see?
You see a nest. You see a nest.
You see a nest, a beautiful nest, right? So this is complementary. This finger and this, they both know there are gaps and they try to inherently, it knows this is my strength, so it goes and fits into the gap. So this is complementary. And we've had two beautiful words for this, two 4-letter words, both starting with S. One is Saha, one is Sama. What is Sama? Equal. Look at the word same.
The English word same comes from the Indian word sama.
Similar.
Similar. Same.
So Sama is when you are balanced and it's the same, it's equal. Saha means what? Together, to cooperate, right?
Complement.
Complement to cooperate. So in Bharata thought, what have you called the spouse? The word for spouse? Sahadharmini, Sahadharmin. Saha, you don't say Samadharmini. You say Sahadharmini. Sahodara. You don't say Samodara. Modinda or
So,
Sahodara, right? So they are people with whom you work. They complement your siblings, they complement the family. They are the five, all the 5 fingers, they are different. That's how your siblings also are, Sahodara, Sahodari.
So your spouse is what? Sahadharmin. So both of complement each other to carry through your dharma for life. So it's saha, it's never sama. That concept of sama same is only in the West, where there is the concept of inequality is innate in their thought. We don't have that. And we also, what do you call your sibling, brother, sister? Sahodara. What does that uddara mean? Stomach. So both come from the uddara, the water belly, the water pot. So both, so look at the concept. So biologically we knew that the complementary nature of your family comes from the same water pot. Saha uddara. Beautiful, isn't it? So we know the system. See, look at the, we are talking all about mindset here now.
So it is very essential to understand this if you are going to study about Bharata society, study about the societal texts and all those various smritis which are part of the Indian knowledge system.
Now the next question is about create abundance or manage scarcity. Now, do we have any economics professor here in this group? Professor of economics? Nobody? Oh, there we have 2-3 professors of economics. What does the term economics itself mean? Economize. Treat something with economy. Isn't it? Basic concepts.
Not spending more
Not spending more. That's a spend area.
for the necessary things.
Necessary thing. So you're holding back because your resources are limited. Basically, you have to allocate the limited resources. So you have a resource limitation at the opening as is the thought process of economy, which is what your system of I also studied economics 45 years ago. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Principle of marginal, all those things you would have. I'm sorry, I forgot it 45 years ago. I did pass the exam though. Okay. Okay. So diminishing marginal return, all those things. Basically talking about economy meanings, the resources is scarce. So you have to allocate, ration the scarce resources. All the structure of whole economics study is built on that. Allocation of scarce resources. Whereas the Bharata thought is not that. We are a land of abundance. So how do we share the abundance? In the Bharata mindset, we are a land of abundance. See, simple point. Bogi festival, all of you know. நம்மளுக்கு வந்து எத்தனை போகம் இருக்கு ஒரு வருஷத்துல?
How many
How many? 3 harvests we have in this land. 3 harvests is what we have in this land. So we have minimum 3 harvests. Each crop is about 100 days. So 300 days in a year we have 3 harvests. So abundance of food, grains, everything we have. All fruits, vegetables, everything we have. How many harvests is possible in Northern Europe? 1 harvest, maximum 2 harvests in a year. So there, fundamentally there you see, there's a shortage. So you have to allocate the ration that. Basic thought process. So we are talking about sharing the abundance, where there is allocating the scarcity. That's why the idea of economics itself comes in there. So this is a land where we share. Abundance we have. Next part, quickly.
So now coming to a society which do you think was the kind of model that our ancients had created? A society where people supported each other, and if so, what is the evidence for you to say that yes, they supported each other? Or a society where administration looked after the people? And if so, which is the evidence? Barter, okay,
that's
is
a trade
commerce,
component.
that's trade.
Commerce, don't get to commerce. We're talking about society. So yes, no, we had coins, we had kasu, the Indian term, which went on to become the English word cash. If we had barter system, we would not have had kasu. If you had not had kasu, there is no English word cash. So the point of you having money and you having silver as one of the components of making silver is the term that used for, in the Indian terms, use the term for rupa.
So silver is called rupa, and that is why you have rupiya. Our currency rupee, rupaya is from silver, and like he said, kasu. So kasu is been there. So barter is one form, but we have had very well established methods of accounting and trade. Accounting has been very, very strong. It goes back by more than 5,000, 7,000 years. and the word for that is Karanam. Karanam is accounting. So which of the two models do you think was our Indian civilization based on? Where people supported? What makes you think that? Okay, so you're saying there is a village, there is a medical person, there is a person who, I mean, people engaged in different vocations, fine, but more than that, more than just vocation alone. See, we have a beautiful word, ashrama, right? Have you all come across this word, ashrama? Right? Shrama, Shreya, it comes from support, looking after, responsibility. So, ashrama means a society which has an inbuilt structure of support in it automatically. And what is that support? When you are young and you are studying, you are, as a child, the child who is studying is supporting the education system as a whole. He is supporting the transmission of knowledge. He is ensuring that the knowledge will get transmitted. See, don't look at support as only financial support. Supporting a society means you have to look after the well-being, both financially, look after culture, look after health, look after knowledge. So these people who are studying and giving all their hours to teaching and education, they are supporting the education infrastructure of the society. Similarly, those who are married, they are the ones who are looking after the sustainability of the society, not just in terms of feeding the society. See, you should understand, look at the ashrama. What are the 4 ashrama? Brahmacharyam, then you get married, grahastha, then vanaprastham, you retire, then sannyasa, few people who renounce and move away, and
Not everybody, few.
a few people go up to sannyasa. So out of all this, who are the people who are working actually for generating wealth? Grihastha.
Only Grihastha.
So they are actually, so from a financial perspective, they are supporting the entire society. They are looking after the food and other needs. Patra vanama, panda vanama, veedu vanama, adu vanama, odambukku paakanuma, doctor, medical, everything. All those people come under the Grihastha. The youngsters don't care, they are just studying. The Vanaprastha, they have retired. They are there to keep advising their family, the near and dear around them, people of their vocation, about their skills and so on.
We've actually made 3-4 short films on this. Hema will show you where those films are for you to go watch it on these 4 ashrama, which is what our society was built on. The prosperity, the sustainability of a society, economically, spiritually, well-being, health-wise, wellness-wise, was based on this system. We have made quite a few films on this. She'll show you to where it is. Do watch it, because that is what a viable society is. Because the first 18 years of your life is to grow and get your skills in place. Then from then till 58 or so, you are productive as a family unit for the not just your family but your whole society, your village, civilization, etc. Then what do? You take on the advisory role for next 10-15 years, where you look after the family, but from a little afar, because you allow the next generation to perform. Then beyond that also, if you want to even relinquish that, that is when you go to sannyasa. Not everybody does it, only some people do it. But the point is, see how well structured. The structure is important for the development of a society. This has been structured so for millennia. So you have knowledge, you have economic activity, you have family well-being, then you have somebody, elders also looking after and giving you the right guidance and stepping away, not getting involved in day-to-day affairs. And then finally, even that you give up to the next level of thought. So structuring is very important. Today you speak about this structuring in different forms in society, in economics, in sociology, everywhere. That is what we had. We had a very well structured system in society where we looked after the whole land as a whole, the community as a whole, beautifully. That's what it is. So people support people. Actually, we had a very nice Tamil word quotation. I'm just because we are talking here in this land, but in some other place we do some other quote. Because somebody else looking after you is very alien to us. is a socialism model, a communism model, does speak a little bit about it. The administration supports, that's not our innate Bharata model at all. We had a Tamil word. Anybody remember that? Anybody like to say it? It's called Namakku Nami. The system where we look after ourselves. We are not dependent upon a third party to look after ourselves. So we ourselves structure ourselves to look after ourselves as a community. That's the beauty of what we have as a system.
And you will see from here is where you get your sense of indebtedness, gratitude, duty. Everything comes out of all of this. So they're all interconnected. And so finally, where does this all lead to? Does it lead from gross to subtle? Gross meaning large scale physical things to the minutest, or from the minutest to the large scale? Minute. Who all say gross to subtle? How many of you said gross to subtle?
No,
and how many of you say subtle to gross? So where is the clue for you? What makes you say subtle to gross? So many of you are saying subtle to Sirutuli Peruvellam. Okay, that is one.
That Sirutuli is also gross.
In comparison to
That
the
Sirutuli
thought.
is also gross. What we have is, we have a very nice Indian concept. From Sukshamam, we go to Sthulam. So Sthulam is, but what happens when in the field of mechanical sciences, we see only the gross. So all our mechanical sciences deals with the gross. Okay, but we don't see the Sukshamam. So mechanical sciences don't deal with it at all, because it's not yet part of the modern scientific mechanics. Whereas the Indian thought is very clear that everything emanates from the Sukshamam. So we are very clear that that is what the subtle gives us, leads to the gross. Whereas the Western thought is very clear, we are only in the gross. We are not, they don't have grappled on as yet on the Suksham concept, but we are very clear that everything starts from the Sukshamam, goes back to the Sukshamam. Okay, okay. And where do we say it? In maths, we start everything from zero and take it back to zero. Isn't it? So that we say it everywhere else. And I'll just tell you one small quote before you go ahead. When somebody is saying, I'm tired, I'm not well, I'm distressed, or I'm not up to it, in whichever way you want to say, which part of you is that? Not up to it, tired, mind. Is, so you don't say my hand is tired, my leg is, that's the hand pain, that's the Sukshamam. So when you say mind, where is your mind? The tired, the stressed, that is not feeling up to the level is, what is it? It's a mind. Very good answer. But where is it? It's not a physical part of your body. But you are from it. Without it, can you be? Otherwise, you have lost your mind. Isn't it? So, we very clearly, our thought is everything is from the Sukshma. So, your well-being itself is only with your mind. But where is your mind? Is it in your body or around your body? That's again a different question. That's a philosophical question. We're not getting into that for this session. But let us realize that's what it is. So, we are very clearly from Sukshamam to Sthulam. Is wonderful. It's absolutely the contrary thought of the other parts of the world. Clearly, the very diametrically opposite thought is what is ours. Next point. When she framed this question, what is it? Are we black or are we white? Who said grey? Grey. Very good. We're all shades of grey. We're all shades of grey. Absolutely. So the black and white is again a very, very non-Bharata concept. We are all shades of grey. You can choose one of it and still be right. But let's recognize everything is grey for us. We don't have that stark black and whiteness in us. Because we know the greatest of the persons can have grey shades. The sort of the person who is the vilest of the person can also have grey shades. That is the beauty of it. And it's all contextual. As we were saying last night, it's also contextual. What is right, what is wrong is again based on context. The time, the place, the geography, the hydrology, the topography, everything is based on that. So everything is for us is grey. That's the beauty of it.
So there is nothing judgmental. There is nothing saying this is black, this is white. And the notion itself that black is bad itself is not a Bharata thought. Black is not bad in Bharata thought, nor is white the best or the, while in English you would say that. You would say fair.
You'll say fair. Fair means what?
It's correct.
It's correct. Another fair and lovely. Whereas we don't have that. You don't have to be fair. You can be right and not be fair. Because that fairness doesn't decide. That's why you have the poem also, Baba Black Sheep. Because the black is bad. For them, black is bad, white is good. It's a very English thought. We don't have that at all with us. One of the gods, Krishna himself is black. Isn't it? And Ravana, supposed to be the villain, he is fair, tall, handsome. He is fair. He is bright. Isn't it? So, that skin color or the thought doesn't matter. For us, the mind is more important. The subtle is more important there. Look at the concept. So, have you understood the stark contrast of the Bharata concepts? In IKS is very important. Before we can talk about IKS for hours and hours, which we will do as and when we get time. But this concepts, you catch it now, the basics.
And we wanted to bring in this slide because when you say context, it then leads you to the very, very innate Indian idea of dharma. Because we all think dharma, you try giving so many definitions in English, you'll say righteousness and then your correctness and duty and this and that. But fundamentally, if you look at it, dharma is what you dharanam, what you bear. And what do you bear? Your nature. And each of your nature and my nature, each one of us, every inanimate also, everything has a nature, everything has a characteristic, and that is very unique to it. It's very different. And because of this nature, when any two things interact, they are going to behave in a particular manner. So that interaction is also part of that dharma. So that dharma is decided by the nature of the people, of the two things interacting, the situation in which they are interacting, and which determines how they are going to interact. So this is dharma, and that is therefore so contextual. It's contextual on the beings interacting, the situation. So which will you say is correct or wrong? Nobody can ever say which is right or wrong. You can't even judge on God's actions. Did he do right in creating the universe? You can't even judge that. Is the universe right or wrong? No decisions can be made. So there is black, there is right, white, but neither of them are right or wrong. Everything lies in the grey in between because it is highly, highly contextual, and that is what Indian knowledge system and the languages of Bharat themselves are.
How many of you have grey matter?
We have grey hair.
Only 2-3 people have said they have grey matter. How many biology professors here? Zoology, biology professors, anybody? They would know what grey matter is. You know what grey matter is, obviously. Irka illaya? Illa subject la irka illa manushanaku irka?
So that grey matter wisdom is what we have worked with, we have acted with. That wisdom is what made us look at the grey and not look at only the black and white and decide on various things. And these are the kind of things you will keep seeing in your IKS subjects. And therefore, when you want to study IKS, when you want to teach IKS, when you want to expose your children to IKS, it is not enough if you tell them India did this, India did that, these are the texts, study this, and this is what we said will work and will not work and all that. You have to give them the facts with the foundation. You have to say why we thought it will work. What is the wisdom? What is that greyness in that grey wisdom which made those facts happen, which made those facts a reality. So the foundation, the ethos is very important. The thinking, understanding, the principles are very, very important. And therefore, IKS is not just a mere subject which will enhance your skill set. So you are studying chemistry. So I will study 5 more texts on Rasayana. So I know IKS, chemistry, Indian chemistry, I know modern chemistry, and therefore now I can innovate, invent. No. You have to understand the mindset with which those chemistry texts have been written. For instance, when you read an IKS work on chemistry, you will find the whole thing. Actually, somebody just looking at it at a glance will think it is a religious text, because the whole thing will be written as a dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. The subject is called Rasayana. It is about the rasa, the essence, and it will look like a text on a religious text actually, because there will be Shiva and Parvati and they'll be talking, and in that you will also get some Puranic kind of references also.
The beautiful point she said, you know what, take up any of the Rasayana texts, there are about 15, 20, how many chemistry professors here? Professors of chemistry here. Take up any of the Siddhar work which substantially deals with chemistry, or take up any Nagarjuna work or anything like chemistry. There are hundreds of works on chemistry. They all primarily start with the term rasa and add-ons from there on, or prefix, suffix it. But the point is, all of them, as Hema just said, starts with a dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. That is what chemistry is all about. I'm sure you all have good chemistry with your husbands. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. See, so the point is, you know what? As if people immediately they say, oh, Shiva Parvati dialogue, so it's a religious text. No, that knowledge is given to you as a dialogue between the two of them, and there on is pure science subjects, Vijnanam. So that is the beauty of it. So you need to understand what is your mindset in it. Everywhere. Similarly is that famous work of Kalidasa. The Sanskrit professors here, at least two of them I know, a few more could be, where it speaks about, I think Raghuvamsa speaks about starting from Parvati Parameshwaram, right? The dialogue between Parvati Parameshwaram is one of the most beautiful texts of the land is all about. Like that, it goes on, right? Okay.
Because, like we said, this complementary aspect is there right through. It is there in the universe, in the fundamental aspect of universe, in the form of matter and energy. So will you say this is matter or this is energy? What will you look at it as? And when you say it's chemistry, it's an interaction. Change of state, you need energy. And do you call it chemistry or do you call it physics then? So will you look at Rasayana as a physics text or will you call it as a chemistry text? Right? So the Indian knowledge system does not separate. So you need an integrated way of thinking, you need a holistic way of thinking, and you need to look at it from various perspectives.
Now since you talk about chemistry, what is one of the basics? So you've spoken about Shiva Parvati dialogue, we have spoken about speech, we have spoken about mindset, we have spoken about Stula, Sukshma, all that. Okay? Spoken about that. And okay, in the field of chemistry, I'm sure all of you studied chemistry in 7th standard, 8th standard, right? What is the basics of the tabulation of chemistry that you'll understand? Periodic table. Who gave us a periodic table? Not the two chemistry professors. Others, anybody remembers who came up with the periodic table? Dmitry Mendeleev, okay, a Russian scientist. When he was living by the Caspian Sea, he came up with it. We made a film on it, a 4-minute film. We can see how the IKS component to the foundational aspect of modern chemistry is based on. This is a film, it's available in our YouTube for all of you to go watch now and later, and also share with your students, family, friends, etc. This is one of the films made by one of our students, actually, from our class.
You will find these in these films when you go to our website bharatgyan.com. There will be the films, you click on this. I'm showing you the route to see many other films. So it will directly take you to playlists, not to home, but it will take you to the playlist. And in the playlist there are many films here. You can go to Bharat Gyan Shorts. So there is one here on the side, you will see this.
We all learned about the periodic table in chemistry. That brilliant chart of elements created by Russian scientist Dmitry Mendeleev and published as the Law of Periodicity in 1871. But what if this modern discovery was inspired by something far older, something from ancient India? Let's rewind. In Mendeleev's time, only 63 elements were known. He arranged them by increasing atomic weight, and certain patterns emerged. Elements with similar properties lined up in columns. Gaps revealed missing elements which he boldly predicted. And years later, many were discovered, just as he foresaw. But where did he get this idea of arranging them in a table as a law of periodicity? Here's where it gets interesting. Unlike the English alphabets, Sanskrit alphabets are arranged in a pattern called the Varnamala, based on their point of articulation and level of aspiration. The result? A two-dimensional sound table. The legendary Sanskrit grammarian pioneer more than 2000 years ago further summarized their interactions into a set of 14 strings called the Shiva Sutras. These group sounds in a logical way to define the rules and system of grammar for the entire Sanskrit language. There are signs to indicate that Mendeleev, in his pursuit of discovering the natural law for the pattern and behavior of elements in nature, would have been inspired by how the Sanskrit alphabets are organized. One of the clues, Mendeleev predicted elements to be discovered using Sanskrit words, Eka, Dvi, and Tri as prefixes. For example, Eka, aluminium on discovery became gallium, Dvi, tellurium became polonium, Tri, manganese was discovered and named rhenium. Why would a Russian chemist use Indian Sanskrit terms? A close friend of Mendeleev in the University of St. Petersburg was a Russian professor who was working on Panini's Sanskrit grammar at the same time that Mendeleev was writing his chemistry textbook. But there's more. Between 1862 and 1871, while working on his periodic table, Mendeleev had visited Baku a few times in connection with oil projects. Baku is also known for its Ateshga fire temple since long, a sacred site which till 1880s had Vedic priests and Shiva scholars in residence. Mendeleev had stayed at the temple guest room, Balakhani, and had likely interacted with the Sanskrit scholars and priests there. Dr. D.K.Hari and D.K.HemaHari have personally visited this very site, where records show Mendeleev to have stayed and worked in 1862, 1870 and 1886. He could not have but interacted with the Sanskrit priests living there and heard their chants of Shiva Sutras, the basic chant of structure and rhythm or pattern in nature, for they were all living within one small compound. This suggests he was likely familiar with the knowledge of Sanskrit, its arrangement of alphabets as a two-dimensional matrix, and its grammar based on Shiva Sutras. It is interesting that it is after his visit to Baku in 1870 that Mendeleev got conviction to boldly publish his earlier patterns of the periodic table as a natural law of periodicity that forms the entire system in chemistry. It is worth noting that the knowledge of Rasayana, chemistry in India, is revealed as a dialogue between Shiva and his consort, Parvati. It is to be noted that the Baku Adesha, a confluence of Mendeleev's law of patterns in elements and Sanskrit's law of patterns in speech, lies on the shores of the Caspian Sea, the Kashyap Sagar. This is part 4 of a series on Rishi Kashyap's legacy and tracing forgotten connections between India and the world.
Thank you. This is one of the recent films that we made by our students from our courses. Actually, quite a few students from this college also is part of the program, so they can also join doing this. So the idea is simple. So all that we said, the foundational aspect of chemistry itself very clearly comes from this Maheshwar and Shiva.
So look at this here. You're having chemistry and you're saying it's a periodic table, and you're saying an inspiration is a table from language, grammar. So where is language? Where is this? So what you're really finding is
the grammar of chemistry.
There is a grammar in chemistry. And what is grammar? Grammar is rule. And what is rule? There is a pattern. What is pattern? There is an order. And what is order? That is dharma. So,
and what do you call order? What do you call the pattern, order? What do you call it in Indian languages? Ritu. Rhythm. The English word rhythm. A pattern, order in English is called rhythm. What is the root of the word rhythm? Comes from the
Rita in
Rita.
Indian languages
Ritu.
as well.
You know, in girls called Ritu now. That's what it means. All about Ritu, the pattern, the cyclical pattern. That's what Ritu is all
So
about.
if you look at it, Indian thought finally takes it back from Rasayana. You will look at grammar, you look at grammar, then you look at sound, then you look at sound, then you look at waves. So fundamentally you go back from gross, you go back into subtle. So the world, Indian knowledge system talks about how subtle gives rise to gross. So that omkarathlinda, how do you get the whole thing? How? So there are many perspectives. That is one perspective where you look at everything as emerging out of sound waves. So you have Saundarya Lahari as waves, whole world.
What is Saundarya Lahari? Saundarya, beautiful, Lahari, waves. What is the physics that was spoken about in the 1800s in the beautiful wave theory? Physics professors should know that.
So the role and challenge for IKS therefore is knowing this background of Indian way of thinking and the depth of thought. You will find that Indian thought, you can see it in the physical, you can see it in personal, you can see it in society, you can see it at the level of cosmos, you can see it in the level of even spiritual. So, and it will hold good in all this. The same one line description can be used to describe a human interaction, can be used to describe a social interaction, a spiritual level of interaction, which is why in spirituality you will find so many poets, they would have written their poetry where they think of themselves as a lover. So their relationship between them and universal consciousness, not just God, they are talking about universal consciousness. So they will look at themselves as lover, the equation, I mean the relationship.
Because you love your nature. You love Prakriti, Yerkai. You are in love with it. So it's not masculine, feminine alone there. Of course, the component of masculinity, femininity is also part of it. Very much part of it. What is earth? Is it masculine or feminine? Which other planet or body in the solar system is masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
Masculine or feminine?
No,
In
they're
the
all
solar
feminine.
system.
Just ask which is feminine.
Which is feminine in the whole solar system? Earth is feminine.
Any
What
other-
is any
what
other
else?
body that's feminine? Moon.
Moon.
Is it Chandri or Chandran?
So moon is feminine or masculine? Masculine.
Moon is-
Which other planet is
Venus.
feminine? Venus. What do you call Venus in Indian language? All languages, Indian languages. Huh? Shukran. So
Shukran.
do you think of Shukran as a man or a woman?
Man.
Man. So men are from Mars, women are from Venus is the
English.
Western phrase, right? But Indian thought, is Venus a woman? No, for us Shukran is man. Which other planet is woman? No other planet. So which
Why-
is the only thing in the solar system which is woman? Earth.
Bhuma Devi. Why? Because life can sprout only on Earth. Life cannot sprout in any other planet. Even if you take and put a spacecraft, it cannot. It's only you can leave a station there at best. That's all. So innately we recognize this a few thousand years ago, and in the naming itself we gave it the right gender. Only Earth is Bhuma Devi, Bhudevi. Everything else is masculine. Look at the concept. Our IKS concepts are fundamentally strong and clear based on nature, how Prakriti works.
Prakriti here means not just nature around. It is the nature within, the inherent nature, which is part of the nature around. Because all of our inherent natures together make the overall nature.
There's a 3-minute film on this about the gender of the planets. It's a part of our Wonders of Indian Astronomy film. Go watch it later. Okay, there's a film on this. You can share.
You tell me,
You tell
what
me.
do you call Saturn? Shani.
Why
So
do you
how
call
do
it
you
Shani?
curse somebody? Shaniane. You say Shaniale. No. Shani-
No, why do you say that?
Still
Why do you use the
masculine.
word Shani for that person when you scold him?
Anybody?
Why do you use the term Shani? Meaning what?
Huh?
Troublesome secondary, primary?
No, troublesome is not, I mean, why does the troublesome nature come? Because Shani is slow. Shani is the slowest, not inherently. Shani is actually going very fast. But
Because so,
the Shani's orbit is so huge. When you see from Earth, Shani does not move quickly in the sky. Every other planet is moving very fast in the sky. Shani takes 2.5 years to go from one zodiac to another. So almost it will be stationary for many months in the same place. So naharave naharad. Yen mang, and if you scold it also, it won't move. So you say Shani right? So that is why he is troublesome, because he doesn't listen to you and he causes, he sits there and he blocks things. So that is Shani.
See, the time taken by Saturn to go around one revolution around the Sun, how many Earth years does it take? For Saturn is 1 year. Saturn's 1 year. How many Earth years does it take?
No,
for one zodiac. So 2.5 years into 12 zodiacs, 30 years. So 30 years it takes for Saturn to go, 30 Earth years. For Jupiter it takes 12 Earth years. That we have a film on it also in our society thing. Please look at it. Okay, it's all there. So that's why you look at the term. You can. That's why you have the idea.
we'll play it.
Okay, many of you will be approaching 60, and in case many of your husbands will also touch 60, isn't it? So, but some of you will be close to it. But why is 60 important to us? Why is that 60? Why is 60 important to in our life? That's all. We'll watch that. Correct.
Ashram model has been one of the foundations of an active, thriving, and sustainable society. While the brahmachari spends his growing years gaining knowledge, the grihastha is dedicated to producing progeny and bringing prosperity to society. Though grihastha ashrama is the longest phase of one's life, a person has to step back at some point. In a Bharata society, this moment is celebrated as an event where the grihastha is reminded to slow down, step back, and go on a vanprastha. What is this event? The major event marking the shift from grihastha ashrama to vanprastha is called Shashti Abdapurti. Shashti Abdapurti is a combination of three words: Shashti, Abda, and Purti. Shashti means 60. Abda means year. Purti means complete. So, Shashti Abdapurti implies the completion of 60 years in one's life. It is the 60th birthday and the mark of entering the 61st year. But why is the 60th year special? Why should we become a vanprastha at this stage? There is an astral marking for this. One revolution of planet Jupiter, called Brihaspati, equals 12 Earth years. One revolution of the Saturn planet, called Shani, is approximately equal to 30 Earth years. Hence, 5 revolutions of Jupiter equal 60 Earth years. 2 revolutions of Saturn equal 60 Earth years. Hence, when a person is 60 years old, the two large planets with long revolution periods will lie in the same relative position with Earth, Sun, and Moon as they were in at the time of a person's birth. This alignment is called Mana Yuga. Yuga means to align. Hence, it indicates a milestone in a person's life where he has reached the monumental number 60, when the planets will align in the same configuration as at the time of one's birth, even as they revolve around the sun with different revolution speeds. Such alignments happen once every 60 years in a person's life. After 60, it will repeat when the person is 120 years old. This is called Pura Ayush, meaning a full life. This significant moment, when a person is 60 years old, is considered a message from the stars, a gentle nudge to the person that is time to move on to the next phase of life. The vanprastha ashrama is not just about retirement. It is about giving back to the society that gave us everything. It is a phase to travel when the person is still healthy and able to see the world and beyond, to spread their knowledge and experience days so far. The couple in vanprastha ashrama go on to various sacred sites. Their yatra to holy places brings them into contact with many others who can benefit from their knowledge. After all,
Yapya comes from the root yap, which means to spread far and wide. The people in Vanaprastha spread their knowledge far and wide, doing their bit to give back to society and keep the civilization cycle rolling. This creates a balanced, harmonious, and sustainable society where every age group performs its duties and has space for everyone to coexist with equal importance.
Thank you. This is to all our students who made this. Actually, it's a student of ours named Srivalli from Hyderabad who has done this film for us. The point is, this film is available on our YouTube playlist channel. You can please share it with all your family members who are touching 60 or have just crossed 60. I'm sure there'll be quite a few of your siblings. You can share it with them, so they'll all know. And you have some case, if you're slightly younger professors, your parents or your uncles, aunts are touched it. So the meaning of it, the significance of it, you can share with all your family members and their own.
So the challenge, so there is a challenge in IKS. You are bridging the gap between the past for the future. You are the medium in between, the old and the young, because this knowledge currently is more with the old. You have to now take it to the youngsters. It's also from the ancient times for applicability in modern times. It is a mix of both. It's not just knowledge, it comes packed with wisdom. It's fully packed with wisdom, and that wisdom is what you have to get across, not just knowledge alone. Knowledge you can get from reading, but how do you cull out the wisdom, that essence? That is very, very important. And therefore it is something that gives you both a skill set and a mindset. And this is what we have done. Therefore we have written a book, Indian Knowledge System, and
this book is available in our website in the link of Flipbook for all of it to read after the session. It's a 50-page book, easy to read with lot of pictures like this, simple reading as to what is IKS and the knowledge system. It's about available for free read for all of you from the website.
so the way you can take it forward first is awareness. You have to build the mindset first. The awareness has to come in first. The appreciation has to get built up. The relatability, that I can now relate to this subject, this concept, this way of thinking has to come in. Only then will they be able to read the IKS texts, whichever language, local languages and also Sanskrit, anything, whichever language text, all the language texts reek only of this kind of a ethos. So this assimilation can happen only after these two steps. And only after a good assimilation can you start adapting it to what is your current context, what are your current needs, because only then you have absorbed it with the right spirit and right essence, and then that is when large scale applications can evolve. And this we have written it in our book, which is called IKS Awareness to Application, the 5 ways. And mind you, to remind you that there is this kind of symbolism. We have designed the cover itself like a tree, but it's got many things. It is no doubt a tree of knowledge, but it's a tree which has got peacock as a symbol. See, you should remember this Indian knowledge system, therefore every name has knowledge and wisdom behind it. Every language, every name in every language has the knowledge, the wisdom, the functioning. The subject itself is there in the name. And this is often represented in the form of symbols. So you will find the peacock representing Saraswati as knowledge. You have crows that you symbolize with ancestors, Pitra. Then you have birds, nesting birds, which are talking about safeguarding the knowledge, the Titra. The horses, which again talk about the throat and the Veda, Vidya. The cow, which is for knowledge, which is also called Go. And similarly, every small thing, you can see this in our website when you go to the book, because it will take, each one is capable of hours and hours
explaining,
of discussion.
but they've given it all in the book for you to read. Now go to the next point. We are offering this as course, so those of you or your students interested, always get in touch. We'll be glad to offer this as a detailed course for those who want, when you want. I think Professor Yogapal, both of some of your students are already part of it. More can join, more are welcome. It's an 8-quarter course that we do. both faculty as well as students, both are welcome for it as and when you want. Just
So
saying
you
it's
have to understand the civilization from its geography, from the dharma, from the time, calendar, the astronomy aspect of it, and how all of this reflects in society, its structure. Therefore, what all contributions we have made to the world in realm of both matter and mind. And from that perspective, that will give us a good handle on how to approach IKS, deal with it, and put it to good use for our future. So this is very important. So IKS is not enough if you just read the subject. You have to orient yourself to the Indian civilization. It's very, very important. And therefore, if you really look at it, the UGC and all the education boards, they've all come up with value added courses which are mandatory for all disciplines. And some of the courses they recommend are on values and then on understanding India itself. So unless you understand India, you cannot understand and take up IKS in a chemistry or architecture or any other engineering and so on. It doesn't make sense then. There is a chasm that you have to bridge.
So understanding India is important, and today what we are trying to do in the last 90 minutes is just to give a glimpse of trying to understand India from a Bharata perspective, because we are all Bharati. So look at it from the Bharati, just a glimpse. When you go to a sweet shop or ice cream shop, how they'll give a sample to taste. That's all we have been able to do in the last 90 minutes, and happy to do this, interact with you today and anytime in the future as deemed appropriate. We'll be glad to do. Okay, thank you so much. And before we thank you all and for inviting us to be present, we'd also like to thank the video team of Mr. Sendil and the whole team, all of you, for videographing it well. And once it's edited and given, we'll put this up also on the website. In case you want to go back and view it and all those, you can always do this, because it will be available for you to reuse as you want in your sessions and classes. Okay, so our email ID is there, all that is there, website. You can all visit and use the knowledge, because most of it we have kept it in public domain to be used by all of us. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.